Hi everyone. Hope everything is okay. So we are gonna go today with some instructions, additional instructions for Module 5. This last Thursday, I gave some off hours, and I think it's important just, also to give you some extra time to to complete this assignment. And I hope you guys have listened to the videos and read all the information that that I actually uh, sent out, a couple of days ago. So if you have any doubts, just feel free to just send me an email. Anyway, so let's get started. And I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna share my Excel spreadsheet so we can so I can give you a walkthrough in this particular assignment. So here I'm gonna share if you guys can see it. Here's a very simple example. So I have my volunteers from 1 to 25, and the age. One of the reasons, to ask for you to place age as a continuous variable is important for you to understand, this entire this range, from your AIDS volunteers. And I think this is a good way, to not only to understand, but to have a good grasp of how statistics, can help you out understand, just for variability and some other interesting insights that you can pull out, from the results and from the output. I'm so sorry. This is my dog. So I'm just gonna very briefly just stop very quickly, this video. Sorry about that. Oh, that's what happens when. Okay, sorry about that. So you're gonna go back to the assignment. For this particular assignment, you're asked to create, basically three charts, from your different types of variables. It could be a pie chart, a column chart, either, horizontally or vertically. You decide really. And if you're talking about some time span, then you can create just a regular line chart. Okay. So, and after that, you would just gonna try to have some descriptive statistics, in order to explain the dynamics of your research topic and how people are actually answering it. So let's start. I have here an example of age. Okay, so the first thing you should do is to calculate, all the important, on information, statistical information. So basically is average, median, mode, max, min, and some other interesting results. So if you start it off, with average. So if you click on your equal sign on your keyboard and start writing average, then you see the function here. You can choose, any other cell to create this. And then I'm gonna hit tab, or you can just, finish it off your the name of the function, and then you're gonna see this parenthesis, and you're gonna open up, drag your mouse into the your interval, into all the data set that you have. So in my case, it would be going from B2 all the way to B26, and then close my parentheses and hit return or enter. And this would give me, an average or a mean of 42. So basically, the average of my respondents, the age average of my respondents is 42 years old. And then you're gonna go for, medium, right? So medium basically is the middle point, um, of your data set. So again, I'm gonna hit the equal sign, right medium, and open up my parentheses, and again, gonna drag, my mouse through my data set. I'm gonna close up my parentheses and I'm gonna hit return or enter. And the middle point is 39, right? Um, so here's an interesting point. You see that, the mean is a little bit above the middle point. So basically it means you have a bit of a skew, you know, um, some skew volunteers in your data set, right? Because you have, some people a little bit older that is pushing, the average over the middle point. So this could be, for example, one analysis that you could draw from your data set, right? And just 1 second again. Ariel, parou. Ariel, parou. Ariel. Ok. Vocês dois, parar. Sorry about that again. So let's go over and calculate, our variance. Basically, it's a dispersion measure. So we are going to click on variance. The thing is, since we are dealing with a sample and not the population, so you're going to be focused on sample, right? So if you click on equal par and then go over var, main is the function related to variance. And then the P here means population and the S means sample. We're going to hit S. And again, gonna open up my function with a parenthesis, drag through my data set, close it up, and then I'll have my variance. My standard deviation here, we are gonna do the same. The good thing is that standard deviation is basically this. It is the square root of your variance. So you can either, calculate it directly by hitting ST or standard STDEV. The thing is about STDEV, again, we're gonna look for the sample size, right? And then go over, with my database, and again, I'll have, my result here. Or we can just create square root. It's SQRT as a function, and it's a square root of my variance. So basically, we have the same result, right? So if I want to go for maximum or, maximum or minimum, then it's even easier. So you just hit max, and then we're gonna have, um, the same result, and min, is the minimal point of my data set, and the range will be the difference between the maximum value minus the minimum value. So it's 59. So those are interesting results that you can explore. And you see, I have people from 18 years old to 77 years old. So it's pretty much diverse and pretty much, dispersed throughout, my 25 volunteers. So they kind of creates, some dispersion measurements, and this is actually reflected by the standard deviation. So if you think about that, you have the mean point, right? Have your mean, and you have 17, roughly speaking, 17, 18 years old of dispersion. Basically, you're saying, look, the mean plus 17 is gonna hit, a certain point, and minus this is gonna hit a certain point that will encompass almost my entire, database. Basically, if I pick somebody up, from my database, there's a higher likelihood of being within this range. So that's the point. There's a lot of, there are other measurements that reflect that. For example, um, skew. If the distribution of my volunteers are skew. So again, you can just hit equal, and there's a function called skew, and then again, you just hit it up, and you're gonna find, zero point 0.5 of skewness. So basically, there's a little bit of skew towards to your rate. And if it's zero, it means it looks like it's gonna look like a bell sign. Basically, all things below average is gonna be equal to all my, to all my database above, the average. And there is another way of calculating all those measurements, statistical measurements, and Microsoft 365 in that sense made it a little bit easier. So if I hit, the main menu here and look for data, and after that, you're gonna see a small toolbox called Analysis Tools, right? If I click on it, you're gonna see Analysis Tool, Pack, and Solver Add-in. So click on both, and then click on OK. So you're gonna have the possibility of calculating automatically all your statistical measurements. So if I hit data analysis here, this little box, it's gonna pop up, some additional information. I'm gonna just share with this. Um, so just give me a second. Okay, so gonna see my data analysis of all my pop-ups. So you're gonna look for, there's ANOVA, correlation, covariance. This is gonna be tackled in in module 6. But for this module specifically, you just need to worry about this one, descriptive statistics. So if you click on it and give OK, then you have, all you have to do is just, input all the information that you need. So there is a input range. So you're gonna click on this little box here and go from my B2 all the way to B26, basically through my data set, right? So my group actually is sorted out by columns, and I don't have labels. If I hit, from B1 all the way to B26, then I would have to click on label in the first row. Since I didn't do that, then no need to worry about it. And if I want to place this output in the same worksheet, then I just put it output range and click on the little box again, choose a cell, and up from this cell on, I'm gonna have my results. If you want to do some additional statistic measurements, then you can click on summary statistics. Basically, summary statistics is that idea of having an interval with 90% of probability if you pick somebody else from your sample, and then there's a high likelihood of getting, of having, his age within that interval, right? So I'm gonna just click on OK. And yeah, so I'm gonna have my my measurements calculated. So again, I'm gonna go and share my screen. So as you can see, there's Excel calculated, for me, all the statistical measurements that I need. As you can see, you could calculate it, in a more traditional way or in a more automatic, in a more quick way, so to speak. But you see all the results are um pretty much the same, right? So you can just choose between one or the other. All right. And another thing that you guys need to do it is those charts. So in this case, you could do a column chart, or if you're actually doing, age intervals, you guys need just to worry about the frequency because you're gonna have to count it out, all your how many people are in your intervals, and then multiply by the median point if you want to see, how many people are part of these intervals. Um, and then create your chart. So for example, if I have here people from 18 to 24, then and then I'm considering 24, is uh, excluding and 24 including all the way to 34, and again 24 including all the way to 44, and 44 included all the way to 54. All right. So um, I'm gonna say, there are six people in that interval, three people in that interval, 10 people in that interval, and two people in this one, right? So in total, I just can hit equal and sum, and then I'm gonna have the total of 21 people, just to become, just to have a more exact number. So I'm gonna just click on here 5. Oh, sorry, 11 here, and then you have 25 people, for example, right? So if I want to create a frequency in percentage units, then all I have to do is just divide it up 6 by the total. And here's the thing, if you want to divide it up 6, all you have to do is just, again, hit the equal point, the equal sign, drag to the cell that you want to calculate. So it's going to be 2000 this time, 6, as a numerator, and denominator 25, right? And if I want to maintain my denominator all the way through it, all I have to do, and that's the beautiful part. If you click on Fn of your keyboard and F4, in your keyboard, then you have locked yourself. Basically, you lock your cell, and you don't have to redo all this calculation again. And Microsoft Excel, we understand that you let it free, 6, 3, 11, and 5, and then you lock 25. So there you go. So I have 24% for my first interval and all the way through it, and everything needs to sum, 1, because we're talking about percentage, right? So if I just change it for percentage, then there you go. And the other thing, I don't have a continuous variable here, but I can calculate my median point, from my interval. So basically, what is the calculation of a median point? All I have to do is sum, my two variables here, right? And divide it up by 2. So my middle point here is going to be 21. And I can do, everything for the rest of my interval. So it's gonna be 24, 34 divided up by 2. Um, just the same here, 34 plus 44 divided up by 2, and 44 plus 54, divided up by 2. So here's my middle point. So if I just, want to create or analyze it, I can say that, um, most of my people falls into the range of 34 and 44 years old. And if I want to calculate more appropriately, then all I have to do is just, multiply one by the other, and then I'll have, the correct number. Then I have the correct number for my data set. But basically, you don't have to do that. If you just create, one chart referencing, your middle point and your percentage, then that is fine. Okay. Uh, yeah, so if you have any doubts, just send me an email and I'll be happy to help. All right. So have a great weekend and hope to see you guys next week. Bye bye.